everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, and you are listening or watching Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. First of all, allow me to say, Kelly Ham, you are my girl. Thank you so much. I am so deeply, deeply honored. You have no idea, even though I was joking at the time, but you, and I won't tell everybody what you did, but I am so deeply honored. Thank you so much. You know what I'm talking about. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That was so sweet of you, and I am so appreciative. I am so appreciative. Thank you. So let's go on to our video. I had to make sure I send a shout out to her first. But what I wanted to talk about, because a lot of questions that I've gotten was like the difference between a player versus a narcissist. And then I also wanted to talk about the downfall of a player. When you play and you get played, you know, some of the differences. And remember, it's just one opinion from me. And so there are different videos that you can watch that give you different perspective or different aspects of it, that they have more information. But of course, I can't talk for a whole hour and then go through everything. I'm just going to give you some things that that I thought about in reference to a player. You have to excuse me, I was eating. But so let's look at some of the difference between a player and a narcissist. So one of the main differences is that with a person that has narcissistic personality disorder, they lack empathy and compassion for people. So they don't connect with people, and everything they do, you know, there's also, well, let's put it this way. The first thing is empathy and compassion. They have a problem with connecting with people. There is no genuine relationship. There is no genuine connections with these individuals. Number two, motive and intention. A narcissist motive and intention is always about themselves, to fuel themselves, because they have a very low self-esteem. What you see in a narcissist is not actually what it is. It is an illusion. That's why my book is called Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection, because everything that they display to you is an illusion of perfection. And if you look at the illusion of perfection and what is highlighted, those are all the weaknesses of that narcissist. Because they, you know, like a somatic, they're most beautiful, they have to get all the attention, and they get fueled by the attention and the accolades, or the attention and women or men falling on. That is their fuel to cause to make them feel confident, to make their ego boost. That makes them, you know, because a narcissist has a very low self-esteem, believe it or not, and so they have to get other people's opinions. They're very into other people's opinions, other people's attention. The attention that they get, the pats on the back, they are fueled by that, and that is how they function. It's like a person that takes insulin. They have to balance that insulin with a shot of insulin medication that balances the blood sugar. Well, a narcissist, in order to balance themselves without completely just, you know, going off the, I don't even know the term to use, but a narcissist gets his dose of ego boost every time they get around people. Even the cerebrals are focused on the thought, you know, intellect. So they have to be around people where they feel intelligent, they look intelligent, they blend in. This is why that narcissist is always evolving. You know, they're always trying to be better than that. You know, it's prideful. Yes, it's prideful. You know, is grandiose. It's overboard. But with narcissistic personality disorder, in the mental health, you know, in the mental health manual, it's a mental health disorder. A personality disorder is dysfunctional, and so they usually are dysfunctional inside. They're chaotic inside. Inside is unbalanced inside, because everything that's going on the inside of them, they let out on the outside of them. So you are dealing with an individual that is always creating chaos and confusion, you know, anxiety, unbalanced, because that's all the stuff that is going on the inside of them. If you meet a person that's a helper, that's peaceful, that's loving, that is what they display. You get around them, they're funny, you know, they make you feel better about yourself. They encourage you. You know, not that you're drawing off of that, but they encourage you. You know, when you get around them, it's just at peace, and you feel good about yourself. You feel empowered after you finish talking to them. But every time you get around the narcissist, you feel less than. You feel ugly. All of a sudden, one leg is shorter than the other. You know, one eye is bigger than the other. So every time you get around that narcissist, you feel dysfunctional. It's always you. And there's nothing that's ever that narcissist's fault. You know, everything that they do, you know, everything that they say, they do, all the drama that they cause, is always someone else's fault. They don't take accountability of nothing. A player, on the other hand, has empathy and compassion. And there comes times where, you know, well, keep in mind, they do have narcissistic traits, because they're players. But it's not dysfunctional to a point it causes them problems sometimes. It doesn't cause them problems at work, causes them problems with interaction with their family. It's not dysfunctional to a point where you know something is so wrong with you. Players like to play. That's what they do. They like to play. And there comes a time where players get played. A lot of players that I have met and I've talked to, and there was a gentleman on here that said it one time. He's like, Dr. C, I'm not gonna lie to you. He said, I was a player. He said, I played the game. I played with women's hearts. He says, and I just got a thrill out of it because of the fact that, I could do it. I was a good looking guy. I played the game. I didn't want my heart to get caught up in it. I didn't want my heart to get caught up in it. He had been hurt before. And I'm not talking about this one in particular. This is just what he was saying. He got played. But a player, and I've heard them say this before, is that they had gotten hurt before. And so they were not ready to give their heart to no woman. Or no woman, the woman was not going to give her heart to no one else. They had cut it off and said, I'm not going to get in no relationship, because every time you get in a relationship, you get hurt. And so they have just got it to a point where they just go from person to person, or they just, but they're pretty upfront. I'm not ready for a relationship. All I want is this right here. And if you fall in love, that's on you, because I'm telling you up front, this is what it is. Most of them are hurt, and they have guarded their heart. Now they don't want to be involved, but they usually meet people, and oftentimes when they feel themselves starting to feel, that's when they usually cut it off. They're not ready to settle down. Most of them are a little immature too. Immature. You see the older ones that are coming in the club. They're in the club looking like Mr. Brown with all the young people, with them ashy knees, and they still think they're young, and they still want to play. And you, grandpa, go home, But most of them, they're immature. They're just not ready to settle down. Oh, they've been hurt. And so a lot of times when they have been so hurt, they create this persona about themselves too. You know how LL Cool J used to do it. And then the question is, you need chapstick? You all right? You cool? Or them girls that their bust is showing, they've got the bustier, or that push-up bra all up under their chin, lips as big as fishes. What's up? Hey, boy. But think about it. So they do all this stuff because they feel, most of the time they have a low self-esteem themselves. They've been hurt. They've been abandoned by someone. They've been truly injured. And all they want is somebody to love them. Really, all they want is someone to love them, someone to validate them, someone to, but they have empathy, and they're hurting. And a lot of times what happens is they have this persona, and then when people get with them, because they think that they're strong people based off of what they see, they really find out that they're weak, they're brokenhearted. It's easy to manipulate you. You are a walking wound. This right here becomes a bait for the narcissist. The bait, the narcissist will go after, and some of you guys got mad at me too when I said a narcissist will always find your weaknesses. And then some of y'all emailed me and said, and some of you actually put, I resent that statement, Dr. C. That's not, because I'm a strong woman, and I'm a strong man. But it's most of my girls, my queens. I'm a strong woman, and that's not, I don't know how it happened and everything, but I'm a strong woman, and I got this, and I'm a businesswoman and stuff. But you know what? Had I been a narcissist, I would have tapped into your pride. Your pride has become your weakness. That's what that narcissist looks at. That pride is your weakness. When girls and guys, or guys and queens, or whatever, and they're playing those games, and you're watching them, they can pick up if a player is watching a prey and they want to play and everything, they're watching everything that they do, so they know how to talk. A narcissist does the same thing. They look to see what your weaknesses is. A narcissist gets in because they sense your weaknesses, so they watch you. If you're the type of person that you're very prideful and vain, that's the tool that they use, and that becomes your kryptonite, because that's what they use to pull you in. If you're one of those beautiful women, and I've seen beautiful women, drop dead gorgeous women, but they full of pride. They know that they're pretty. Everybody thinks that they're pretty. They know that they're pretty, but on the inside, they're broken. They're hurt, but they're prideful, and they know that they look good, so it's all about their looks. That narcissist gets in, because one thing that they're gonna do is they're gonna tell you how beautiful you are. Everything that you've ever wanted to hear about how beautiful you are, your aesthetics, that superficial stuff, they'll give it to you because you're superficial. Those women that are strong and say that they're strong, and I don't need a man. I don't need a man to do this, and I don't need a man. Guess what? That man or that woman, I don't need a woman, and a woman is just, every play. If hurt is your weakness, that's what they go after. If pride is your weakness, that's what they go. If vanity is your weakness, and there's some people just tore up from the floor. Whatever your weakness is, that's how they're going to get in. If you haven't healed and you accept anything, that's what. And then some people are so accustomed to playing the game, it's always worked. So they meet someone strong, they feel rejected because that person is not impressed with, they're not impressed with the superficial. And so they're hurt, so they usually won't pursue because of the fact that they're hurt. They're hurt, and it feels like rejection, and this feels like what has happened before. Or they want to know why. Why are you not paying attention? What you're showing your weaknesses. That's what the narcissist looks for. And so the difference between that player and that narcissist is motive. The fact that they don't have empathy or compassion for people. You know, everything that they do is for themselves, is a drug for them, has nothing to do with you. They don't connect with people. Everything has a motive. Everything has a reason. Everything that they do, there's a reason. Everything they do is strategic. And the further they go up the scale, the more strategic they are. The more strategic they are, and the more they observe and they watch. And so players and playerettes, you got to stop playing the game, because that's normally how you end up with a narcissist. You get played. And that narcissist, the way that a narcissist is conquer and devour or kill or be killed. It's almost like they're always in war, and you're thinking like, who are you in war with? You know, why are you fighting so hard? What is wrong with you? You know, because their whole thing is, when you talk about competition, you can't beat a narcissist in the game, because that's a straight hit on their self-esteem and their ego. You can't be right and they're wrong. They'll figure out a way to manipulate the right and make it wrong. They'll figure out a way to manipulate wrong and then make it right. You know, if you're smarter than them, they're going to find a way to get smarter than you, if that even makes sense. You know, if you're stronger than them, they'll find a way. They will go to extremes to outdo you so they can get the attention. They can go to birthday parties, and it's a 2-year-old's birthday party, and the party turns, you know, this is my baby and everything, but because of all the attention that they're getting, you know, all the attention that the baby is getting, everything turns back to them. People go to family reunions and they have narcissistic family members, and all of a sudden the family reunion is ruined because they have a temper tantrum, because everyone is paying attention to maybe Madea, you know, but all of a sudden that narcissist, it demands attention, and no one's paying attention to me anymore. They come with the baddest rides, the baddest chicks, the most handsome man, the baddest cars. They always have to be seen. Everything is about them. A player wants to play. Of course, they do some of the same things because they have narcissistic traits, but it's not so dysfunctional that it does break people's hearts. Don't get me wrong. A player plays people and they break people's hearts. You know, they do that, but they still have feelings. They still have compassion. They still have empathy. And when people that are close to them talk to them, they'll usually express the fact, you know, I didn't mean to do it like that. And there's some people, you know, they get played by a player, and the player never won. You told you up front, you know, this is, you know, it's not that type of thing. You know, I thought me and you were cool. You know, I thought you done fell in love. That was the rules. You know what happened? And then all of a sudden you're upset and you're calling that person a narcissist. Well, they've told you their intention. A narcissist is not going to tell you their intention. Everything they do it to deceive. They don't have a way of communicating. They don't think, and they think that everybody thinks the same way as them. So if they believe that everybody thinks and behaves and does exactly what they do, they handle you the way that they're thinking. So imagine they're already brutalizing you because they think that you think the same way that they think. Anything that they see you do, they assume that you're doing the exact same thing that they're doing. Now, that's a horrible way to live life, where everybody that you see you think is doing the same thing that you're doing. That's a horrible way to think. A person's mind is thinking. And then you have to remember that growing up, so from infancy to death, there's a growth process. There's the developmental process. The foundation of a child development or developmental process starts from infancy to maybe like 12. You continue to grow. You know, you continue to evolve. You continue to grow. You know, as you get older, there are certain milestones that you have to get, you know, beyond to become a pretty functional, you know, grounded individual, or a person that has, you know, it relatively stable, you know. And remember, in the beginning, when a child is born, it's that attachment. So some narcissists, that attachment was affected. Then the next one is, you know, that trust, you know, they cried to get their needs met. Some of them didn't get their needs met. They were rejected, you know. Then there comes that trust issue, the trust with the mother and the father, you know, that you're there, you know, that trust was broken. You know, most of the narcissists that I have met have been sexually or physically abused, but not all of them have been sexually or physically abused. A lot of them were the golden children. So, you know, overparenting, meaning the golden children. Well, that's abusive in itself. And then they're being taught not to have empathy. They have my little king, my little queen, and they teach them that they don't teach them empathy for other people. They teach them pride and vanity, and so eventually you have to remember that when that foundation is broken, and it's like an autoimmune system. An autoimmune system is the immune system attacking itself. And just like narcissism is like an autoimmune system, is turned inside out. So it's attacking itself. And so when they're little and has been broken, the foundation has been broken, eventually that dysfunctional personality in that child begins to blend in, where it entangles itself. So it gets to a certain point where it becomes permanent part of their personality. Now, I'm a professional. I'm not a scientist. I am a clinician. I'm just giving you my theory. I do believe if you can catch it in the younger years, and I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I do believe that if you can catch it in the early years, but most of the time you don't know that it has happened. You don't know that it's happening. So most parents miss it, but if I believe you can catch it in that small time space where that personality is developing. But a lot of times the problem comes that, when you're dealing with custody cases and child custody cases, the law mandates that narcissistic parent has access to the child. So there's never a time where the parent can really interject to clear all that stuff out to help them grow, because the person that they usually long for the most is the absent parent that is not in the home. And so, but I believe you can catch it in those younger years. You can change it. But the problem is that most of us haven't caught it in the younger years. Parents don't know that's what's happening. And a lot of times, by the time you figure out that the person is a narcissist, it's too late. And the courts have already awarded them, either custody or awarded them visitations. So how are you going to, and all I can tell you is that you have to be the best parent that you can be. You have to spend time, you have to train, you have to talk. You have become the trainer in your home. And when I say train and talk, don't do it out of anxiety. Don't do it trying to prove the other parent wrong. You be the best parent and you take your time to teach. Spend quality time with them. Talk to them about their behaviors. Catch them in their behaviors. Talk to them and ask them how they feel about this. Work with them. But that, I just wanted to come on and say, that is one of the few things I wanted to talk about concerning the difference between the player and the narcissist. But beware, playerettes, that you can play the game. You can play the game. But if you play the game and get caught up by a narcissist, it's going to backfire. And it was fun and games until that narcissist has gotten into your heart and it gotten into your mind and tore that heart up. Like Shredder has tore that heart up. And now you upset. And now everyone pays the price of what has happened to you. Most people pay the price. And you could be a good husband or a good wife to someone. But because one person has damaged you so badly, now everyone has to pay the price. And sometimes you push off good women or good men because of the fact that you have not taken the time to heal. And I talk about that all the time. That's why it's very relevant and very important for you to get into counseling. I have a sponsored link right up underneath my video. It's betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen. At this time, I am not doing counseling on BetterHelp, but you can find licensed counselors in your area. If you hit the link, you get a 10% discount because you're using my name. And then if you tell them you're having some monetary issues, then they'll help you with a grant. And so some of you do have insurances. You can look around with insurances, or you can look around on BetterHelp. They have links on there that talk about narcissist abuse too. So there's information on there where you can do research, but try it. Some of you need counseling. Get the emotional part. Help you to understand. Look for people that focus on trauma, domestic violence, PTSD, trauma, sometimes they don't understand the terms trauma bonding, but anything dealing with trauma and domestic violence, that's what you're looking for. Some of them do understand narcissist abuse and some of them don't. So look for those that deal with trauma. Now, those of you that are looking for coaching, you are more than welcome to email me at drcarmenbryant@outlook.com. It is underneath the link, and click, and then, email me and I'll give you my rates at this particular time. I'm still doing my discounts because I'm trying to get my webpage together so that I can give you guys classes. And so sometimes classes may be less expensive than coaching, but it's well worth it. I promise you it's well worth it. And a lot of people that I've worked with have been very successful. And so I'm grateful and thank you for trusting me with that. So now I'm getting ready to get off. Make sure you go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble and order my book, Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection. All the information is right underneath the link underneath my video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you guys go and be great.